and a little more fun around here.
Okay, so that is a clip from Buffy. I used it in the beginning of the parody video. And the purpose of the parody video was to, subtly or not so subtly, discuss how we need more fun in the paranormal community. We need to be sort of breaking free a little bit. And then last night, I did another live. I think it was my 5th live. And again, thank you to everybody who turned up. We went for over 4 hours. It was great fun. And all 5 lives, in the most part, have been fun. That's what we do. But in this live, the paranormal community came up, and 1 or 2 things were discussed for a little while. So I gave my opinion, and I found myself ranting. And I've been saying how I can't think of anything to rant about at the moment. Apparently I can. Found out on last night's live. So I want to actually break all that down because I think it's important. I feel really, really strongly about this. And there are going to be people who listen to this vlog and agree with me. There are going to be people who listen to this vlog and don't. And that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make. Now, let's start with debunking. This is called the debunking community. And it's not just about debunking this community, but I do believe very, very firmly that what it needs to be at the heart of this community is the debunking. Because the debunking is there to open people's eyes in terms of fakery that is put out there in the world, not just on YouTube, on other social media platforms, even on the TV. It's not there to say these things aren't real, or to say these things aren't potentially real. It is there to say we need the evidence, we need to be questioning, we need to be debunking. And all of the fakery that goes out there doesn't help that cause. It doesn't help what tend to be called the real paranormal. And that is at the heart of this community and always should be. It always should be. But I've been slowly campaigning for a while for this community to extend upon its topics, which I honestly believe will help the investigations and will help the way that the investigations are viewed and will help the way that evidence is viewed and theory is viewed. I've also been talking about how this community is starting to grow. Amazing, that's really good. And how the shape of the community is starting to shift. And again, that's fine. But what's been happening is there's been shifting going on, and it's been a little bit unsettling for some people. And that happens in life, you know, change is often welcome, but we can also be a little bit wary of it, we can be afraid of it. We have to take time to get used to it because things are working a little bit differently. But what we should be doing is welcoming into the community both new people and new topics. I'm a big supporter that this should be also called a real paranormal community. This community isn't just about one topic, it should be about a range of topics, and those topics do need extending. If this community is going to get bigger, the only way this community is going to get bigger is to extend on those topics and for people to actually accept that those topics are going to extend. There is an amazing amount of content in terms of real investigations, and they are 100% important, and they should be 100% supported. And we all have our channels that we support no matter what in terms of the real investigations. There are so many now, it's impossible to watch everybody, but we all have the personalities that we like to watch. Keep supporting them. They are at the heart of our community along with the debunkers. But you already know that I look at comments. In a lot of live streams, I'm looking at what people are saying in the chat, what people are now saying in my chat. what people are saying in the chat of the channels that I moderate, and there is more and more people saying they're getting a little bit tired with the content. Now, more and more people are going into lives, and that's great because there's more and more lives, and lives are getting very competitive. It's becoming a slight issue. If you want to put a live out, you're trying to almost squeeze a live out between the raindrops if you don't have a regular slot. But that's fine. You know, that is what it is. And it certainly hasn't really affected me. I have managed. And I don't want the lives to stop being supported, because I do think the lives are also at the heart of this community. But I also think that a lot of people are turning to lives because they're turning away a little bit from content. That is a problem. You know, if you're going into somebody's lives but you're not watching their content, and I'm not just talking about me here, I'm talking about anybody, then something's not working, and maybe the content needs to be mixed up a little bit when it can be. Can't be for everybody. If you're an investigation channel, you're investigating. Most investigation channels aren't going to mix up their content very much. One or two do, and that's great. You know, it's like Josh of Paranormal Seekers also debunks. So does Jeff of Boo Productions. He's also a debunker. He also does parodies, some amazing parodies. But there's a wide range of channels there that if you're watching my lives, you'll see that I'm trying to encourage people to go over to channels that haven't necessarily been on the radar yet, and I think should be welcomed into the community. And it's nice to see more channels doing this, sort of not just recommending the same people all the time. Maybe even if it's just say, look, give this channel a chance, see what you think. If you don't like it, fine. If you do, hit the subscribe button, show your support. But here's the crux of the matter for this, and ironically, what kind of initiated me going into a rant last night in terms of the topics in the community was somebody mentioned the live that Beardo did with Jason Hawes. Now, I've mentioned this very, very briefly last week, but just to clarify, with Jason Hawes, he wasn't on my radar. The time that the TV show hit over here, I wasn't watching a lot of TV because of the setup I had at home. So Jason Hawes came onto my radar. No offense to Jason Hawes or to anybody else, came onto my radar with the whole Cody and Satori thing. So I have no history with it. Now, but here's the thing: whether you like Jason Hawes or not, vlog isn't about Jason Hawes. I'm using this as an example. Beardo brings Jason Hawes onto his live stream. Now, as far as I'm concerned, you're bringing in different people that are on the outside of the community or aren't in the community at all onto a live stream. You're expanding the experience of the community. Now, Beardo got a lot of kickback for that, and I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but he shouldn't have done. You know, Beardo is a big fan of Jason Hawes. He's got to know him. I have no feeling about Jason Hawes one way or the other, so I'm literally playing devil's advocate here. But the way I see it is, watch the live stream, go away from it thinking, no, still don't like Jason Hawes, don't approve, or go away from it thinking, well, actually that was really, really interesting, some good points there, still not sure, or go away thinking, oh, great, Jason Hawes, that was a really good live stream. Doesn't matter which part you fall into. The fact is, it was different content, and it was exposures. Same when, you know, you're seeing Kenny Biddlemore in lives. You're seeing more people in Kenny's lives, and that's amazing. You know, Kenny's been on Seg's lives. He's done an exclusive live with Crow, where they've been discussing what Kenny does and how they both feel about the paranormal. He's done one with Beardo. Again, more content, and most people, I would wager, in this community will look at what I watch Kenny's lives all the time, and it's one of the few lives that if I can't stay awake for it because it's late for me, I think it starts at 1 o'clock in the morning. If for any reason I haven't got the energy to stay awake from it, I do rewatch it. I am team rewatch with Kenny's lives, knowing full well that at some point, or more than one point in that live, I'm going to get triggered because I'm not going to agree with something. Okay? But I watch it anyway, and why do I watch it? Because it's important. Because it's important to look at the whole end of the spectrum, from skeptic to believer. If you're only looking in one direction, and you're not looking in the other direction, you're not getting the whole picture. Now, I did the song that Kenny's using at the minute, the intro for his lives is one I did, and I exchanged emails with Kenny about this. And one of the things I said to him was my very first paranormal vlog, because this was an art channel, and I was only going to do the odd paranormal bit, but my very first paranormal vlog was actually triggered by one of Kenny's lives, because I wasn't agreeing with him. Okay? That wasn't what the vlog was about, but I didn't really think about it till later, but I did, when I was talking to Kenny over email, said that what it really raised the importance of for me, because I'm about to go into doing wider content. I'm about to start a series on Chariots of the Gods, looking at ancient mysteries, looking at the idea of aliens, etc. in ancient history. And what the live had triggered was I didn't agree with Kenny fully about memory, so I'm going to do some research in psychology, and what it reinforced for me. So especially with something like the Chariots of the Gods, I'm looking at ancient history. There's only it's a puzzle of proof, and it's never going to be complete. It's never going to be complete. I cannot cover most of the subjects in Chariots of the Gods and say, look, this is the proof, this is the likelihood. All I can do is look at the documents, look at the research, and say, this is the way my opinion goes. What do you think? But what watching somebody like Kenny, and especially Kenny, reinforces is that even if it's something that I cannot prove, even if it's something that has gaps in the knowledge, how important that research is. So just like you will get people like Joe will talk about how important it is for research into an investigation location, that you're not going in and you're listening to the owners or the tour guide or whoever's showing you around and giving you the history. You're not 100% relying on that. You're going back, you're checking, you're seeing if it's just word of mouth local history, if there's documentation, looking into historical records and documents. All of that is so important, and it's important in other topics as well. And we need people like Kenny Biddle to reinforce that research is so needed in what we're doing. Yes, we're dealing with the unexplained. Yes, we're dealing with the paranormal. Yes, we're dealing with things that may never be explained, or certainly not in our lifetimes. It could be in several lifetimes that some of these things get explained. Doesn't mean you don't do the research. And it does not mean when things haven't been explained beyond what you normally see, what you're normally watching on YouTube or wherever, it doesn't mean dismissing other topics as being rubbish. My feeling is if you're a believer in the paranormal, if you believe in ghosts, whatever you want to call them, ghosts, spirits, demons, whatever term you want to put on them, because that's one of the problems, isn't it? Is the term ghost could mean a whole range of things, but it gets boiled down into one term, so it ends up being a very narrow view from some people. But if you're going to open your mind to that, why close it to other topics as well? Say, I believe in ghosts, but Bigfoot can't be real, or I believe in ghosts, but aliens can't be real. Whatever it is, you know, you may not believe some things are real and some things are, and that's absolutely fine. But if somebody's actually giving you information on it, at least think about it. If you still feel the same way, that's great. But if somebody's presented more evidence to you, or more theory to you, then it gives you a fuller understanding of the subject, and maybe, just maybe, it'll give you a fuller understanding as to why however much you believe in ghosts, for example, somebody else may believe in aliens, or somebody else may believe in cryptids. And I'm sure there are going to be people who've got this far into the vlog and thinking, no, Sarah, it's not the same. No, I'm sorry, but it is. It is the same. I would say that some things are more likely than others. I would completely agree with that. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't at least be thinking about it, and you shouldn't be automatically dismissing somebody when they go onto a podcast, when they go onto a live stream, whether they're putting a video out about certain information. Give it a look. If you're genuinely not interested, for example, when I put Chariots of the Gods videos out, you may think, not interested in this, don't watch it. Yeah, it's fine. I'm 100% fine with that. But if you do watch it, a bit like going into a live with Beardo and Jason Hawes, give it a chance. If you're in that video or you're in that live and you're not feeling any different, and it's just making you even more convinced of the way you feel about it, that's fine. It's reinforced it. But let's open the minds up a little bit, both to topics, to people that are speaking about these topics, and let's get this. It's not just about the fun in the community. It's about, and I do think that's important. I think that's why the live streams are working so well, because so many of the live streams are just about kicking back, having fun. In 5 live streams, which have spanned about, I don't know, probably nearly 20, I don't know, at least 15 hours I've done in live streams, because 3 of them have been 4 hours or over. One's been 3, what's that, 15? Yeah, it's nearly 20 hours of live streams I've done, of live streaming. And only once did we, for about, I don't know, 20 minutes, go into the paranormal fully, because we were talking about such more important subjects that we just had to go into. We've had so much fun. We've been talking about what often gets talked about in live streams: food, smut, joking with each other, talking about why Dawson Toller should buy an octopus and use it as a sidekick. I mean, just general kickback, have a laugh topics. And that's one of the things that the live streams do so well, is they provide a little light relief. But when a more serious subject does come up, which is rare, at least give it a chance. But I do think this community, whether people like it or not, is going to keep changing shape. This community, whether people like it or not, are going to keep having new people in. And I'm pushing for different people to come in as well. Doesn't mean the core community isn't there anymore. Doesn't mean the central message isn't as important, and isn't there anymore. It's still there. It's just that the centre holds solid while we expand into other avenues. How you feel about what I've just said, that's fine. I said at the beginning, you may agree with me, you may not. Doesn't matter which it is. You may agree with some of the things I've said, you may think the rest of it's complete bollocks. That is fine. We're each entitled to an opinion, but we shouldn't be falling out over the difference of opinion. We should be discussing it and taking those opinions further.